Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do another video in the Biblical Womanhood Proverbs 31 Woman series. And today we're talking about another kind of touchy, kind of controversial topic within this, and that is money. There is a definite pattern to how Proverbs 31 shows the Proverbs 31 woman, the virtuous wife, handle money and handle finances and all of that kind of thing. So I thought we could look at that a little bit and see kind of how she in general approaches money and finances and making financial choices. So in Proverbs 31, the verses that I really wanted to touch on and look at are verse 16 that says, "She considers a field and buys it. From her profits she plants a vineyard." So that tells me that she is a steward of her money. She is super careful with what she spends her money on, where she puts it, and make sure she knows the quality of what she's using it on. And she can really be wise and discerning in that as far as if it's a good financial choice. And I think that kind of just speaks to being a good steward of our money, being able to discern and be wise with what we spend our money on. And I think one of the biggest things within that I have found is tithing as a part of it, giving that percentage back and kind of recognizing where it comes from. God's really the one that gave us it, not just saving it up and using it on ourselves, or saving it up and it's sitting there doing nothing. I could go into that whole parable about the sower, and oh gosh, yeah. So just keeping ourselves aware of what we're doing with our money and being really discerning with the choices we're making, with how we spend our money, what we spend our money on, how we use what we have. So that means knowing where it's going as much as possible. The second line of that verse is, "From her profits she plants a vineyard." So not only is she being discerning about where her money goes in the first place, but she's also considering kind of a longer term game plan of buying that and using it to do something that stretches what she gets out of it even more. So she's really able to get the most out of what she's doing and make just good investment choices and kind of turn it into an investment and a long-term profit kind of thing, and be a good steward of what she has and kind of using what she has, even outside of finances, just assets, to the best of her ability and in a way that will really benefit her family. So the next verse I wanted to talk about in conjunction with money is verse 24, where it says, "She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies sashes for the merchants." So in a sense, she kind of has her own business, because she's not only buying fields and growing crops, but she's also making clothes and selling them and making money off of it. And I think that really shows just a way of being industrious, a way of using our talents and really pursuing success in the things that God has gifted us in and the things that He might be calling us to, and being very bold in using our talents in the most beneficial way. So being industrious like that and basically creating a whole business that has an income. It's a way of providing, it's a way of blessing her family and blessing other people, and it takes a lot of smarts, it takes a lot of knowledge and management skills, and I think that kind of shows the way she approaches making money and creating an income. I think this speaks to a part of her that is not talked about much, where she's basically a business owner. And in a sense, has this whole business that she runs on top of running her house, on top of cultivating a relationship with her family and her husband, and also keeping God first in everything she does and keeping a strong relationship with God. So I think this verse really proves, when managed well, how much she's able to get done and how much she is accomplishing. The biggest overarching theme that speaks to me is wisdom and discernment. Being wise about choices we're making, being wise in how we're using all of our resources, whether that's our money, our time, our land, our talents, just using all of that in the most wise way and discerning what way would be best to use that, being discerning in the choices we're making. I think what could also be interesting to look at alongside that is how God talks about money in the rest of the Bible. There are so many different verses that talk about money and finances. It's one of the most talked about subjects in the Bible, if not like the most, as far as how many times the word money is used. And I think it would also be really helpful to look at the Proverbs 31 verses that talk about kind of industry in general, contrast or compare that to the verses throughout the rest of the Bible that talk about money. One of my favorite discussions of money in the Bible is the parable of the minas in Luke chapter 19 that starts in verse 11. So it says, "Now as they heard these things, he spoke another parable, because he was near Jerusalem and because they thought the kingdom of God would appear immediately. Therefore he said, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. So he called 10 of his servants, delivered to them 10 minas, and said to them, do business till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent a delegation after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. And so it was that, when he returned, having received the kingdom, he then commanded these servants, to whom he had given the money, to be called to him, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, Master, your mina has earned 10 minas. And he said to him, well done, good servant, because you were faithful in very little, have authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Master, your mina has earned 5 minas. Likewise, he said to him, you also be over 5 cities. So while that doesn't maybe directly speak to just money, I think it can apply to a lot of things as far as being a good steward of it and not just sitting on things God has given us to use. But I specifically think of money with that just because it was coins or some kind of currency that they were talking about. And it really speaks to investing well and making wise choices and gaining from those choices and using the gifts or talents that God has given us to grow those gifts and talents and build even more from it. So that is my thoughts on money. That is kind of our look into finances with the Proverbs 31 woman and biblical womanhood. I think being a Christian in general means you are called to a very difficult but amazing stewardship with money that is not always easy. But I think it can be really amazing. So let me know your thoughts on all of this down below. Let me know if you liked it, if you have any questions, if you want to see me delve into anything more. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. And if you're not already subscribed, click the screen and subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!